Oh, which current player will be the most successful throughout their Rocket League career? That's a good question. Who will outlast the competition? Well, I think Garrett G will probably outlast K-Dop Turbo. Isn't Garrett the third highest earner after K-Dop and Turbo? Or is it still Panda? I think it might be Garrett G, because I think Garrett G's career has more longevity than K-Dop and Turbo. I think he's mechanically higher level than both of them. And at the end of the day, mechanics are a huge part of Rocket League. Like, you do need mechanics to succeed, so Garrett G's mechanics will carry him into further more seasons than Turbo and K-Dop's will, because he's shown more of a ability um, to stay with the meta, learn new things, and just be a mechanical player throughout his career. He's always been more mechanical than K-Dop and Turbo in most things, and he's very good at like learning and grinding. So I think Garrett G probably will have the most successful career. I think he'll be the highest earner at some point. Fairy Peak is now fourth. Okay, interesting. You spoke about how the numbers speak for themselves. How well do you think number stats are representative of a good player? I've always felt there's a lot of nuance that can't really be easily numbered to players that you feel play well. Yeah, there's a bit of that. So there's a couple of interesting things when it comes to numbers and players in Rocket League. I think when one player is able to completely stand out in things like points per game and even an Octane GG rating, it is something worthwhile. Because there have been many examples in the past where somebody's just completely obliterated the stats and then turned out to be an insane player. For example, Justin, the season before Justin got picked up by NRG, so it would have been, I think it was RLRS season 1 maybe, or was it RLRS season 2? I think it was RLRS season 1, was at the same time as RLCS season 4. Justin was in the rival series with Lachinio and Epic Johnny, and Justin's stats were so much better than anyone else's in the rival series that NRG picked him up. NRG, and particularly Garrett, looked at his stats and they saw his goals per game, his like points per game were so much higher than the competition in the rival series that they picked him up. They were ready to sign him before seeing him even play with them because he was that good statistically. And I mean, that turned out to be a pretty good plan because look at where Justin's ended up. So there are cases where stats have proven to be extremely accurate in telling how good a player is. There have been other players who have done the same thing. For example, Ignite. He destroyed stats in the EU rival series, and then he got picked up by who was it? Was it TSM? It was a team before they became TSM. They won a LAN together. So yeah, he went on to be a LAN champion as well. Yeah, Chicago was also in the same RLRS. I think he did really well the season after. Envy or Freedom Girls, yeah, something like that. So there are many cases where stats have been accurate, but I do agree there are other aspects of Pro Rocket League which the stats do not pick up, such as bad touches. Like if you, as a player, take a shot that you shouldn't have taken, you shoot the ball and it's a bad shot, you get points for it in the game. But maybe it was better for you not to hit that ball, let it roll through to your teammate who had a better angle to shoot with. So actually leaving the ball, not shooting, doing the thing that would make your points in the game on the scoreboard lower would have been a smarter decision. And that's quite hard to calculate. But yeah, those kind of things tend to even out and they tend to normalize enough that over a large sample size, both points per game and like Octane rating are pretty accurate at showing who the most influential players are on any given day. But I do agree. I think there's probably like out there somebody with like really good coding, really good programming skills is going to put together a bot or a program that can track like more stats in Rocket League than are currently being tracked, and we'll be able to come up with a new rating for every player based on those new stats. And I don't know if you guys in chat have seen the film Moneyball. Type 1 if you've seen the film Moneyball. It's an amazing movie. I'd recommend it to everybody. Just an awesome movie, awesome film. But I think that Rocket League could be moneyballed. You could Moneyball Rocket League basically. By that I mean you could use a program, a really like advanced program, to statistically generate ratings for all players using all aspects of every touch and everything that ever happens in a game. If you analyzed everything and you gave ratings to all the players based on a higher level of stats than we currently have access to, I think that would show you who the best players are. And if you took those players, put them in a team, they would win. I really do. Yeah, there might be like some personality clashes, but if you took three players and you told them, "Hey guys, you guys are statistically the best team, so let's just play, and eventually you're gonna win everything," they're probably gonna win. Like they're just gonna see the proof that they are the best, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I guess that's gonna take away all of our doubts," you know. So yeah, I think that there's definitely value to it. You're welcome, Ravina. Yeah, how many touches were actually useful? How much boost was wasted? There's lots of stats that aren't necessarily tracked very well. Useful demos, useful mind games. It's hard to track all this. What's the ceiling for the popularity of RLCS and Rocket League players in general? Well, it's entirely based on what Psyonix decide to do with the game, and what they decide to do with RLCS, what integrations and promotions they want to make happen. But I can say with confidence that Rocket League could be the biggest esport one day, by far. Rocket League has the potential to be by far the biggest esport because it's the esport that is easiest to understand, without making the game any less interesting. The game it's more like a sport than an esport. It plays more like a sport than an esport. It's super easy to understand, even though there are very, very high level mechanics and intricacies that make it amazing to watch at the highest level. And yes, it's a completely family friendly game. No guns, no terrorists, no killing sprees, unless you count demoing people. But there's no actual, people in Rocket League getting demoed. It's just cars. So yeah, it's E for everyone. The fact it's E for everyone, and it's really easy to understand. And also, there's a third factor that makes it more likely to succeed than other esports. It's a very predictable schedule. If you look at games, other successful esports, let's think about League of Legends. Games can be over in a couple of minutes. If one of the teams cheeses and it goes well, they can win the game super fast. Or the game could last for way more than an hour if it goes late game and both teams are just refusing to lose, and it's a very even match. Games can be very, very variable, whereas Rocket League is a lot more predictable. Obviously, Rocket League, you sometimes get anomalies like the 15-minute overtime that we saw last weekend. But even then, even with a 15-minute overtime, world record overtime happening, the show still ended around about the right time. Ended at very much the expected time, even though we had record overtime that day. If there's a record overtime or a record length game in a League of Legends or a CSGO, that broadcast would go on so much longer than planned. Like way, way longer. So that's another advantage Rocket League's got. It's very consistent when you look at the broadcast hours, which is something that's very important when you go to big channels. You want to broadcast on a channel. Outside of like a Twitch channel, for example. Who got to 15-minute overtime? I've got a YouTube video about it, but it was BDS and Galaxy Racer. I think it's my second most recent YouTube video. I cover it. Yeah, I think 1v1 also has huge potential for Rocket League. 1v1 is an untapped game mode. I'm surprised that Psyonix haven't done anything with 1v1 and 2v2 in RLCS yet, because I feel like if they incorporated ones and twos into RLCS, they could turn Rocket League into more of an Olympics type thing where there's multiple events and players competing in either one of those events or multiple of them in tournaments and circuits that are running beside each other. Like imagine there's a DreamHack one weekend, and it's got a ones, twos, and threes tournament. Now, obviously, the main worry would be prize pool. Oh no, our player is going to be like in trouble because you're taking like money away from threes and putting it into a twos or a ones tournament. But I think with the scale that Rocket League's at now, that's not really a problem anymore. Like, there's so much money in Rocket League 3v3. Like, BDS, I think, have made like 100 grand each in RLCS Season X prize money so far. So I don't think that's an issue anymore. Like, back in the beginning, yeah, I could see it maybe would have been a bad idea to integrate 1s and 2s because there wasn't enough money in 3s. But now there's massive amounts of money in 3s, so I'm surprised that Sonics haven't done this. But hey, works for me because I just do 1s, and I love it. The reason I still do 1s to this day is because I love casting 1s. Like, I'll be honest, it is a more fun game mode to cast. If you're just talking about game modes like 3v3 versus 1v1, 1v1 is more fun to cast because there's more to talk about. Because there are actually play styles in 1v1. In 3v3 pro level, there aren't really play styles. Every team just does the same thing. They just go fast, hit the ball hard, and sometimes flip reset. But in 1s, you got actual play styles, and there's a lot of history there. It's just like there's history in 3s. It's easier to cast as well. In a way, yeah. 1v1 is easier to cast because it's more predictable as a commentator whether or not a goal is coming. Like in 3v3, the ball will ping around. It'll go from one end of the field to the other in a matter of seconds. Like just 1 second, it's one end of the field. The next second, it's a shot for the other team, which is super hype. Don't get me wrong. I love casting 3v3. Rocket League 3v3 is something I really love casting. Like it's super enjoyable for me. But 1v1 I enjoy casting even more. I'm just being completely honest with you guys. Because there's more variety. And it flows like a little bit more there's more like variable flow. Do you think a curve dash has potential? Yes, I do. I think that does have potential. I was quite surprised. Since there's such a since it's such commonplace for people to name mechanics after themselves when they discover it or when they popularize it. I was very surprised when I saw Halfway Dead, making a video about this new mechanic that he's found. But okay, I promise you guys, I'll cast this replay. I'll cast all 3 of these replays right after I show you guys this. But let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can do this new mechanic. I did it multiple times the other day when I wasn't streaming. I just tried it and I was like, oh man, I can actually just do this. Let's see. No, timed it wrong there. So the idea is as you're coming off the wall, you want to front flip. Or, well, basically you want to wave dash. Right as your front wheels cross this line here. That's when you want to, like, basically double tap jump as quickly as possible and hold, well, for me it's W, but for you guys on the controller, it would be put your controller forwards. That's what you're trying to do here. There you go. Did you guys see that? There we go. Third try. We got it. So if I can do it on a third try, I'm pretty sure pros are going to be able to do this, like, every time. I've not practiced this, I promise. I went into free play one time after seeing this video, pulled it off multiple times, and this is me the next time trying it, and I can, and I literally just did it right there. It's not that hard. Oh, I think I just did a single jump there, so I did it too early. That's another single jump, so that was too early. I think I'm doing it too early there, because you see the jump, but no, that was too late, because I actually flipped. If you flip, it's too late, and if you jump, it's too, if you just do you just get that jump animation, I think you're doing it too early, or you're just not clicking fast enough. Maybe I just need to be, maybe I need to be less old. But yeah, I'm pretty sure pros will be able to pull this off, like, there we go, I did it, okay. I can't do it consistently, but I can do it, like, every now and then, and I've not practiced this. But yeah. Like I was saying, I was surprised when he came up with this and made a video about it that he didn't call it the half dash, because his name's Halfway Dead, and everybody likes to name mechanics after themselves, and I was like, oh, I really thought, he called it a curve dash. Didn't want to name a mechanic after himself. He's too humble. I was surprised he didn't call it a half dash, because I was like, well, it actually is what it is. Like, you're just, you're kind of just doing the second half of a wave dash, you're not jumping, you're just, yeah. Curve dash is a better name? It is, yeah, it is. But, everybody names mechanics after themselves, so I thought that's what would happen. You could do it off the inside of the goal as well, I'm pretty sure. This I haven't tried, but let's see. So I think I'm flipping too late. So that's too early. Too early. I don't know where the goal, like, there isn't a white line on the goal like there is in the side of the pitch, but I think it's like here. Where does it stop curving? It stops curving here, so you're supposed to do it like there, I guess. So that was too late. Ugly engine. I can barely hear it though, so I'm triggering other people in the lobby. That's why I use the cat noise. But yeah, I think this is useful situationally, because there are times where you aren't able to wave dash. Like if you're in these kind of positions here, you can't really wave dash to recover because wave jumping would jump you like too high up in the air. Like when you're on a curve and you jump, you kind of go up in the air, which is worse than if you're like coming down off the sidewall like this and you can just wave dash. Obviously, if you're like coming like that, a lot of people will just wave dash. But if you're in one of these awkward positions, like sometimes your car just lands like this, and yeah, you can just straight away, you're just going faster, you know? Like this does happen. You just like get stuck in these weird positions on the wall, and you can just immediately do a like a little speed boost. Sure, why not? Well, I remember when what do you call it? When half flipping first came out, it was people were saying, "Oh yeah, it's very like situationally useful." And then when same thing happened when wave dashing came out, everybody was saying, "Oh yeah, you know, it'll get used occasionally. It's, you know, it's very situational, but it'll get used." Same thing with flip resets. People were like, "Oh yeah, that's like, yeah, wow, okay, that's really hard." But I'm sure we'll see it sometimes. Now we literally see flip resets, wave dashes. I mean, I don't remember the last time I played a Rocket League game and there wasn't somebody wave dashing like every time that they recover. I mean, I wave dash every time I recover. It's not that hard. You know, you just got to practice it a little bit. For wave dashing, if there is anybody watching who doesn't know how to wave dash, the biggest tip you can get, like most people who mess up wave dashing just flip too early. They do this. So they just like, they don't wait for their back wheels to touch the floor and they just flip over. But if you let your back wheels touch the ground, then you're guaranteed to land the wave dash. Same thing like diagonally. If you wave dash diagonally, just wait until like the back wheel is touching the ground, and then you flip. Or in this case, front wheels. In this case, side wheels. If you do that, you're gonna get it every single time. You just gotta be patient. Not like that. I'm not sure what happened to my car there actually. How did I even jump? So yeah, I think this will absolutely be a thing that just happens every game. I think Halfway Dead might have just revolutionized Rocket League. How do you do a 360 wave dash? I mean, you just have to combine like a 360 with wave dash. That's how you do it. But the thing that you have to remember is, if you jump all the way up like really high, and then you spin around, by the time you end up facing forwards again, your car will actually, you won't have a jump. You won't be able to wave dash because you've jumped too high, and your jump isn't there when you land. So you have to actually like jump just a little bit, and then you've got to try and like lean back just a little bit on the landing. That was actually too high of a jump. But yeah, that's how you do a 360 wave dash. I should make a tutorial where I just like deadpan, like I teach people like exactly what they didn't want to know. 360 wave dash will never be viable in comp. I mean, it literally is viable. It's a huge mind game. You're like, whoa, is this guy flicking? Is he doing a setup for a flick? What's going on here? Like, it's just mind games, you know? Like, they are already viable. Like, people are just like pretending to set up flicks, and they just like roll into the ball instead. Like, it just looks like you're gonna do something, and then you don't. You just reposition. That's my ones rank. I think I'm champ 2 in ones, but I've not played in ages. I played ones like one day this season, got champ 2, and then I didn't play. And I don't remember when it was. It was ages ago.